It's Daybreak on the Rise News, and it's time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. We begin with our sister publication, This Day newspaper. It's leading with the deadline as President Buhari fails to reject Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Riders to that story. Hope now is for Buhari to sign, since by law he failed to communicate rejection. While governors, Malami APC still against democratic reform of voting culture. CSOs express shock, disappointment in president. And the leading picture this day this morning, President Muhammadu Buhari and his wife Aisha departing Istanbul, Turkey yesterday. And beside that, rampaging terrorists kill 38 in Kaduna State, in Kaduna communities. That's continued on page 10. Above the nameplate of This Day this morning, Imperial College London, Omicron largely evades immunity from past infection or 2 vaccine doses as Fauci harps on booster jabs.
Taking a look at the Tribune now. 38 killed in 3 Kaduna villages. That's on page 26. Tension persists over electoral bill. Civil society groups to storm the National Assembly, and senators indict governors. There's more here in the Tribune. Police nab 11 suspected kidnappers in Taraba State. And Nigeria's tech startups raised over $1.7 billion in 2021. Find that report on page 6 of the Tribune.
The Nation this morning disquiet as Buhari declines assent to Electoral Act bill. President returns bill to National Assembly, and senators and reps consult on way forward. Also on The Nation this morning, only 25 varsities have full accreditation. That's according to the NUC. Bauchi records 153 cases of Lassa fever. Nigeria protests assault on citizens in Togo. And Chinese loans to Nigeria, according to the Debt Management Office, is now at $3.5 billion. That's The Nation this morning.
The Punch newspaper. On the front page this morning, COVID-19, federal government issues travel advice, while Lagos vows to clamp down as infections soar. Fleeing errand inbound travelers will be charged to court according to the commissioner. And also, the NCDC says avoid non-essential international national travels while we study Omicron, as 845 travelers test positive in 7 days. More stories on the front page of the Punch this morning. Federal government evacuates Nigerian passengers assaulted by Togolese officials and begins probe. And on page 26, Rep. Someone Aregbesola, NIS boss over foreign missions visa and passport contracts.
Now let's take a look at the international papers, starting off with the Guardian. Prime Minister Boris Johnson and staff seen at number 10 event in lockdown.
The Independent, tighter COVID rules could be in place by Christmas. Sajid Javid refuses to rule out new restrictions in bid to stem Omicron.
And the Times newspaper, Sunak resists new COVID restrictions before Christmas. At least 10 cabinets question modelling on the Omicron surge. More headlines on the Time newspaper. Liz Truss takes over Brexit from David Frost. The leading picture is that of Emma Raducanu, who is being voted BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
And bold on the Financial Times this morning, travel restrictions extend across Europe as Omicron cases soar.
And the Daily Mirror, coronavirus cases D-Day for Christmas, further restrictions fear as Johnson set for crunch talks.
And for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us in our offsite studio this morning. Emmanuel, good morning. Good to have you. Now let's start with This Day newspaper and the most talked about topic in a couple of weeks in Nigeria, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Yesterday was the deadline. Everyone was expecting President Buhari, will he be back? Is he going to sign it? He hasn't said anything about it. We don't know if he's going to assent. We don't know if he's rejected it, but the deadline's passed. What are we expecting? Is he going to put his assent on this bill, Or is the National Assembly going to veto if he rejects it?
Good morning, Kechi, and my friends. Welcome to a new week. Well, this is a very difficult story for those who are writing it, but sadly or unfortunately, a very, very important story. And I think it's amazing that only 2 or 3 people actually led with it. It should be the most, if you ask me, the most important story this morning. But this day, flying with it immediately, was able to spot on and say, the president has failed to reject, the way it's coined. You say the president has refused to reject it, has failed to reject, communicating to the National Assembly, because that's all the law is requiring him to do, which is, if he's not going to sign, he should be able to talk to the National Assembly and communicate his reason for not signing. So this day is hopeful. It's actually trying to put a spin on it. The reporting by this day suggests that there's still some hope, but some other papers are not that quite hopeful. With one paper practically saying that, look, there's hope has dimmed for this bill to become any kind of law. But what we can report, and the difficulty in reporting this story is that people are even speculating what the president might do. It's not easy when you have to report on the mindset of a president, what he's thinking. You can only look at his body language and antecedent, what he's done in the past concerning this kind of thing. And I think that this day report was latching into that and saying that, well, this is a pattern the president has been able to build over time, and that if he was not going to sign, he would have communicated. This is what he did with this other bill, that other bill. That's the only way these day editors are looking at the report. But some others are looking at the facts on ground, the science of it all, the fact that the president has not actually met the deadline. So it's a worrisome development, a worrisome subject. And already this day reporting that there will be some kind of picketing today, if possible. Of course, with a lot of analysis around the issue, I believe that down today, a lot of commentators are going to talk about this and actually push the president further to write his name in gold, with even one paper saying that the motivation for this actually came from the president, who's been talking about credible elections, leaving behind a legacy of credible elections. And it doesn't get bigger and better for him than this, that he signs this into law, so that I think apart from 1 or 2 people saying, talking about this seems to be a very bipartisan, acceptable kind of law, with a lot of people thinking that direct primaries are the way to go, and that some other aspects of the law, even INEC saying that, well, we can cope with the demands of direct primaries. The parties, especially the APC, saying, look, this is needful, we can do it. And so that's the kind of reporting that is being done around this subject now, what the president thinks, his antecedent, his past. People saying that today is like a one-day grace for him. To either look at it, he's just back from a trip. Where again, people say that is also another aspect that suggests that this president might sign this bill, because he spoke about, on the international stage, spoke about credible elections, spoke about, reassured the international community that, look, he's all for credible elections. He came close to signing this before, only that he said that was very close to elections. So what's holding him back now? We learned a lot of pressures coming from all sorts of people to stop the president from signing. But so it is his call to make today, and I think all eyes will be on him.
Yeah, indeed, you've spoken the truth, Emmanuel Bello, but I'm still concerned about this issue. Now, lots of citizens will be turning 18 this year. Some will be turning 18 next year, just before the 2023 elections. The president is an employee of the citizens, and for an employee who takes all the while to do what he's supposed to do, one wonders, isn't the president indirectly saying that he's not guaranteeing us free elections in 2023, but not having signed this bill in the past 30 days?
Yeah, that's the kind of interpretation I'm sure those who are concerned with that are reporting this, civil society and every other person will read this kind of meaning into the president's action, or in this case, inaction. And so, like I said, it's up to him. Today is crunch It's D-Day for him, it's crunch time for this president. Of course, the law did not say, for instance, when he can sign it. What the law is saying is that, look, he needs to do some kind of communications. So he's still free to sign this. But this is a golden opportunity for a president that is always talking about better elections, a legacy of credible elections. He got some praise in the last election that we had in Anambra State, with all the actors, even the winners, praising and saying that, well, the president really showed some good faith in not trying to muzzle the election. So sometimes he gets this kind of praise, around elections, and himself, he uses himself as a witness or as an example. He says he's run for presidential elections thrice or 4 times, and he's gone to court and all the time, and he has patiently waited. So he knows the harrowing effect of losing an election and losing it in a wrong way. So he's always say that look, he's a living example of the pains and the anguish and the agony of losing an election, and losing it not because you didn't get those votes, but because you were muzzled out. So he puts himself forward as an example for wanting better elections. And the whole world is saying that, well, this is an opportunity for you to right the wrongs of the past. Of course, pressure has come up on him seriously, with even his Attorney General advising from the reports that, well, it's wrong to force parties to adopt a certain system, it's unconstitutional and all of that. So, and he depends on all of that. But that's just the letter of the law. But a lot of people expect him to go with the spirit of the time, the mode of the time, which is people really, really favoring this bill and wanting him to write his name in gold and take the bull by the horn. Will he do that? Will he not do it? That's what we're reporting it's all about. So we're watching to see what he will do. Today will be a very good day for all sides to be looking at this matter and see what the president will do.
Indeed, all eyes are on President Buhari. Before you go, let's talk about Omicron. Now, yesterday, basically, I spent a day monitoring the news from all across the globe, really, on how, one, it's being reported, and secondly, how it's being handled. And I have to say, it was quite shameful in the UK, the way the main British broadcaster, the BBC, was almost sensationalising the fact that the Health Secretary would not rule out restrictions before Christmas. And you're thinking, the problem I see where the pandemic has gone is, one, it's politicised, and two, a lot of media outlets are really overemphasising, really sensationalising it to make it sound far more dramatic, and it's causing people to almost ignore the restrictions. How can a health secretary basically rule out anything at this point? The fact is, if we look at Omicron a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the situation has changed so drastically. So in effect, this person is only doing his job, saying, I'm not ruling anything out. But then, of course, on social media, you start getting the keyboard warriors saying, let's rebel, let's go against our freedoms. Do you think we've now got to a point where the media plus the politicization of Omicron is almost impossible to control? On top of that, we've now got a variant that is literally impossible to control and is surging across the globe.
Well, it's a worrisome development, and I like the way you painted it or put it. The crisis of reporting Omicron, the crisis of even the actions of politicians around the issue. But thankfully, we have authorities like Fauci who are staying with the science of this crisis and advising on what to do. And for most parts of the world, I think they try to also stay with the science of this and the facts on ground and what to do about it. Of course, the politics is there, but even the other reporting, like the British tabloid newspapers are doing, you have a situation where they've been calling out the president and saying that, look, you say one thing in public and you do another thing. I think the Guardian newspaper actually even showing the party that was held in, number 10 last year. So it is efforts like this, both by the media and, of course, the political actors, and also staying with the science of it all, that I think is going to be our way out as the Omicron crisis gets even stiffer, especially as we head into the Christmas and the other festivities.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press previews.